So during the Clippers time, there was free agency situation that went on with the Mavericks. This at the time was probably one of the NBA's social media free agency stories that involved different stories and emojis and just a ton of stuff around it. Yeah. Can you set the scene for what happened during the decision to re-sign back with the Clippers? Because for the longest, I mean, we know that you was back home in Dallas. They had you locked in the house. Basically, forced you to make this decision.
I'm from Houston first and foremost.
Houston, not Dallas.
Yeah. I'm from Houston, but I was gonna go back to Texas, my home state. But because this was after we had beat somebody in the first round, I forget, and then we were playing Houston in the second round, and we beat San Antonio. First round we beat, and then we're up 3-1 on Houston. We lose. So I'm like, all right, well, fuck, like maybe we ain't got it. This is just, it's maybe time for me to move on. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go to Dallas. And I was like so sure about my decision at that point in my career that I was like, I need to try something different. I need to move on and maybe accept a new challenge for myself. And I told Blake and Chris, but I was scared to tell Doc. Because I was like, man, we so close, but I'm like, I don't want to let him down, So I went back I told Mark and Chandler and Dirk I was coming to Dallas. And then they're like, hey, let's fly to Dallas tonight. And I'm like, nah, I'm going to go home. Me and my family going to Jamaica or somewhere. And we went, and I was like, nah, I'll come back. I'll go to Dallas after I get back. I need to, once free agency starts, I want to go home and like just kind of separate myself. We're in Houston at my house. My brother's there, a couple of my buddies, and I get a call from Doc. And I'm like, oh, shit. And my brother Corey, who's over there right now, is like, don't answer that. And I'm like, nah, it's my dog. I got to answer the phone. So I talked to Doc for a second, and we're just chatting it up. And I told this story a ton of times, so it's out there. And I'm like, he's like, hey, man, it took me a while. Like, I'm happy for you. I just think that we got some unfinished business here. And I'm like, yeah, I understand that too. I feel that. But I just, I want to try something new. I just don't think that we're going to get over that hump. And I said, and then plus, Doc, I already told these people I'm going to Dallas. I can't tell them I'm not going, And he was like, well, if you did change your mind, we would have your back. And I'm like, man, I know, Doc, but it's just tough. He said, well, give me an hour. I'll call you right back. I said, all right, cool. So like 20 minutes later, Blake calls me. He's like, hey, bro, what's going on? You coming back? And I'm like, what you mean? I said, no, we're going to Dallas. And he was like, well, shit, Doc just called me and we coming to Houston tomorrow. And I'm like, oh, shit, y'all coming to Houston? Yeah. I'm like, all right, cool. Fuck, all right. So I call my mom. I'm like, hey, mama, I think the people from the Clippers coming out here tomorrow. And she's like, DeAndre, you telling people from Dallas you going? And I'm like, yeah, but Doc and then want to come out here and talk. And she was like, oh, shit, the people in Dallas going to kill you, So they came out, and ultimately we had like this huge, big conversation, and it was like a great, like get everything on the table, air it out kind of conversation, and ultimately I ended up staying. And I should have got a deal with Twitter at the fucking time, you know what I mean? Because I kind of like, we had the numbers jumping that night.
Right.
But it was a fun time, and I think that when you're at that age, P, like your mind is telling you, I need to do this, but your heart is telling you, no, I need to. So it was a tough situation for me, wanting to be able to switch jobs like everybody else in the world chooses to do at some point. But in our world, it's kind of like it's broadcasted and you get chastised for it. And,
right.
But it was a fun time. Yeah.
What ultimately like sold the decision? Because you said your heart was kind of set on going to Dallas.
No, my mind was set on going to Dallas because
your mind was going to Dallas. Your heart was stuck
I was
on
like,
staying.
Because in my mind, in my heart, I was like, I want to stay with the Clippers until I retire. I don't want to leave ever, But I felt like I needed to move on and try something new because we had kept getting to that point in the playoffs, but we could never get over that hump. And I was like, man, like, am I ever going to be able to get over the hump here?
But I want to know, like, who, like, because whoever said the final word of whatever the pitch was, like, what was the final word of like?
Well, my mom got it popping.
I'm coming back.
My mom got it popping. She was like, Steve was there, Ballmore was there, and Doc was there, and they was like, all right, anybody got anything to say? And we all kind of like sitting there, like, and my mom was like, all right, well, I got something. Y'all don't like each other? Like, y'all three don't like each other? What's going on?
Yeah.
And we all kind of was like, oh shit, okay. I'm getting chills even talking about it. And I'm like, okay, well, here it is, like, so we just kind of, Chris, Blake, and I, we just had like put it out there, you know what I mean? And I think that it was kind of like going back to what we were talking about with teammates and butting heads and expecting things out of people. And it just became like okay, well, I don't like this. Well, I don't like you do this, but I think you need to do more of this. And it was a conversation that I think needed to be had years prior to that. And I think that it's a lot of conversations that a lot of teams in the league need to have right now, just because it kind of like puts it all on the table. And it's like, I love you. I got your back, but I'm going to let you know what is bothering me and what you should let me know what's bothering you. And after that, it's flushed and let's go this way. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what the conversation did for our team and for us three as a whole. And after that, there was no question about like, okay, I know this dude got my back. I know he's got my back, and they know I'm gonna do whatever it is for them. And it was great after that. And then ultimately, I decided I'm staying. And I was like, all right, cool. Like, I'm dapping everybody up. JJ's there. I'm like, all right, cool. I'll holler at y'all. And then Armand Hill and Paul Pierce go outside. They smoking cigars, and I'm like, all right, I think y'all about to leave. I'm like, I need my house back. And Paul Pierce is like, oh, you don't know? I'm like, no, what? He said, oh, Doc not leaving until you sign. I'm like, oh, shit, okay. But, I'm on Central Time, so I got to wait till 11:01 to sign. So they stayed in my house till like well past after midnight, and then we kind of just celebrated there. And then I had to reap the consequences that came with Dallas and the Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah, what was that conversation like? Because you said that you talked with Chandler and all those other guys.
Yeah,
you got to make that call right after that.
Yeah, I mean, Chandler and I are good now. Mark and I are good now. But it's shit turns quick, fast. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could be friends with somebody, and then when that shit happens, it's kind of like, nah, I'm off that dude. Which I understand. I get it. But to Dallas, I was kind of like the devil. You know what I'm saying? And I get it. I did make a verbal commitment to them. I understand that. But, it was the first, because I feel like I'm a likable guy. Like, I feel like I got no enemies in the league. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just who I am, But at that point, I was like, damn, I got a whole city that's like, fuck that dude. When we went back to play Dallas in Dallas, they had my picture on the front page of the paper with like, to cut out and bring to the games, like with like the dotted lines with devil horns on it. And I was like, damn. So it was the first time for me, I was like, fuck, like, damn, am I that bad of a person?
Right.
Wait. They put devil horns on your face
1,000%,
on the paper?
On the newspaper for people to bring to the games. And also, this was like also after we had did the Hooper commercials. So I was like Mrs. Hooper. So it was like double. I was getting, what I'm saying? So it was bad. It was bad for me.
State Farm stuff, right?
Yeah, the State Farm commercials. So it was fucked. But it was fun, man. Like, it was cool.
PrizePicks is America's #1 fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. Get in on the daily action with your friends and become a part of the PrizePicks community today. With PrizePicks, you can turn $10 into $1,000 in a single game watching your favorite sports this summer. You can make a PrizePicks lineup in as little as 60 seconds. You just need to pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections, and you're locked in. So download the app today and use code PODCASTP for a first deposit match up to $100. I repeat, download the app today and use code PODCASTP for a first deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy.